How did the son of a fisherman and a trader end up becoming the composer of the Ghana national anthem? Today on Legends of Africa with Yao Nochifrimpong, I bring you the story of Philip Gbeho, composer of Ghana's national anthem. So Nochifrimpong, always a pleasure to have you on History Time. So let's start from the beginning. Who was Philip Gbeho?
Simply called Philip Gbeho. He was born in 1904 at a small fishing village near Keta called Veja.
Voja.
You can pronounce it.
Voja. Yeah, man.
Okay. Interesting. Has it got any meaning?
Voja, I don't know what it means, but I can find out in the comments after this recording.
Now, we are told that he started school at Keta Roman Catholic Boys School.
Indeed.
And he was very lucky that those days the missionaries had organs at the accessibility of the peoples. And this boy was so enthused by that. And within a very short time, in a matter of a month, he had learned how to play the organ. So at a certain point, the school made him the organist, and he became the organist throughout his education over there. We also learned that his mother was a local, or do I say, a traditional player, singer and dancer, always found in the Abaja group. And this boy also saw what the mother was doing and added to his education. Now, when he left school, he went in 1925, he entered the newly established government training college at Achimota. He trained as a teacher, and after his education, came back to Keta. Now, he was not just a classroom teacher. He joined the Catholic Church, St. Cecilia's choir.
Yeah, he founded their choir.
He actually founded it.
Indeed, yes.
And made it so pronounced that they were traveling everywhere in order to sing, to be paid, like outdoorings, funerals, and other social occasions. Now, the authorities caught sight of him and felt that Gbeho could be an assistant music teacher at Achimota. So he went to Achimota as an assistant teacher.
So he went, after training, he came to
training,
Keta.
so he was just a trained teacher.
Yes.
Now he will be brought to a training college far above his standard to teach because of what they discovered he was doing, that practically he was more than somebody who had even a master's degree. So they brought him back as an assistant music teacher. After a whole 10 years, because he went there in 1938. And then about 1949, he was given scholarship to go to Trinity College of Music in the UK. And over there, he excelled. He set up a musical group made up of African students. And they were touring every part of the UK until the BBC started inviting him to give lectures on African music, traditional and dance. So he became a very pronounced person in the United Kingdom.
So a student, a teacher, also a broadcaster.
Yes, a broadcaster. And then after his education, he came back to Ghana. And then in 1954, the government set up the Arts Council of the Gold Coast, and the Prime Minister then, Kwame Nkrumah, would invite him because this man was interested in traditional music. And Kwame Nkrumah was developing what will become the African personality. So he felt that this was somebody who can help me. So he set up the Arts Council of the Gold Coast and made him the interim chairman of its board. A few years later, Nkrumah felt he had to remove him because he needed this man to go around the country, do performances. You needed to see the Adowa people, the Kete people, Bobo, Abaza, Kundum, everywhere. So this man shouldn't be a classroom person.
So an intentional move to synthesize all these cultures of Ghana.
Yeah, bring them together.
Bring them together as part of the African personality ethos.
That was building because we knew Christianity already. We knew Islam. And in reality, these were the people who had colonized us, both two religions, and they are still colonizing our minds. I'm sure you understand.
I
that.
understand you.
We live in Ghana, and then people are fighting in Palestine, and we support this or that side because of our religion. And it's not African religion. So sad. It's rather foreign religion that I have sympathy for Hamas because of ABCD. I have sympathy for the people of Israel because of ABCD. Why not sympathizing with them because you are an African so that you can judge better? This was where Gbeho was standing. And he went around everywhere giving evangelism to the people of the country that you may be a Christian or a Muslim, but don't forget your roots. That if you are an Ewe man, please don't allow the Catholic priest or the Presbyterian minister to tell you that dancing at bazaar is demonic.
So in a way, he was on the same wavelength as Dr. Ephraim Amu.
I have to add that when he started this broadcast everywhere in the country, he was aided heavily by Ephraim Amu, because many years earlier, Ephraim Amu had been dismissed from the Presbyterian Training College as a teacher because he would go to school, the classroom, wearing the African style of cloth. And then the smoke as you are wearing. And when you visit his house, he will serve you with calabash or his own form of calabash, like the coconut fruit. When it's dry, you know that you can chop it and then it becomes a cup.
Definitely so. and environmentally friendly.
That of the guys. And then the missionaries also discovered that he never liked whiskey and all the things they were drinking, but palm wine.
That's my kind of guy.
So then, instead of teaching them hymns from the Presbyterian hymn book and the Methodist hymn book, he would teach them African songs.
Yes.
And they got angry with him. And he composed a song when he was living.
Yes.
Something like that. So when Gbeho came with his mission, you will know that people like Ephraim Amu and Kwame Nkrumah would give him every support he needed. And that was the reason why 1957, when we were declaring our independence, starting from the end of February through March that year, the country would host the first of its kind on the African continent, purely arts and craft exhibitions from the African source.
So that was the first ever National Festival of the Arts.
Or arts, at the Information Services Department, at the forecourt, everywhere, people coming from outside Ghana, coming from outside Africa, coming to observe what this nation state has for the world. They did not know, or if they knew, it had been covered even from us. Child naming ceremony. They will send you to the church, and then the priest will come sprinkle some water on you, and if it's a Catholic, that day they will baptize you and give you the name of a saint, Saint Mary, Saint Teresa, Saint something. Just as Nkrumah himself had been given Francis, Gbeho had been given
Philip. I was given Robert.
Okay.
What were you
Joseph.
Oh, Joseph. I see. Robert and Joseph here. Not Kafu and
Yao. This man now showcased the African, especially the Akan way of naming a child, dripping water into your mouth. That say insu. That when you see water, say this is water. And then a bit of alcohol. That when you see alcohol, say alcohol. So it means that right from the birth of the African child, we are teaching him something called what? The truth.
Yeah. The Evers have it also. The Gans also have it. Yeah.
It's
a Ghanaian thing.
Truth, wherever you are going.
Distinguish between water and alcohol.
Yes.
False and
the
true.
Truth. Yes. And then also, you are named after a venerable ancestor or a living being, but who has done something for society. So that the moment we hear that this man is called, for example, Amu, you remember the famous composer. Here's somebody called Buzia. Oh, that famous prime minister. Rollins, the former head of state. You see, so always this was what our ancestors were doing. So you can't throw these things away and name the child Joseph or Paul or something. It's not bad, but those people are not part of our history. We didn't come to meet them. But in that small society in which you find yourself, somebody is named after, will be named after you based on what you do today. Or your own family members will not name anybody after you because of what you do today.
They want to forget you.
When you are found in ritual murders, when it is found that maybe you committed suicide, that was what ended your life. You are found that you cheated or you gave birth to so many children, you didn't take care of them. None of these children will name their children after you. So that is the African concept, and we, Philip Gbeho, exhibited all. And then the installation of chiefs.
So that festival was a massive undertaking.
Oh, that was when we got to know that in Ghana, we don't have coronation. I remember when the current Achimebuakwa Omanhene was being installed as a chief. It appeared everywhere in the newspapers, the coronation of it. Please, Philip Gbeho told them, we don't have coronation. That is for the Europeans. Ours is installment, because the symbol of authority was not the crown, but with that it was the stool. And if it is a notness, the skin.
Skin. So enskinment.
And then installment. But what brought these things out during the independence celebrations. And we are saying that at a certain point, imagine the small population of Ghana then, just 4 or 5 million, having about 15,000 people in attendance, you know, watching the exhibitions going on. All because Gbeho had traveled the length and breadth of the country and selected about 500 people who would perform
all the various dances and the
various dances and traditions and the foods of the people, so that foreigners will have a taste, you know, instead of the, what do you call it, chicken and chips and those things. No. Come and eat teaser, chuo zafi. You understand? Fufu, apple, banku, and what you call the ga kenke, which Nigerians like a lot. You know, Gbeho made sure we exhibited all this so that people will know that when you talk of independence, we mean the African coming up above the European. So
this legend of Africa we're celebrating today was not just a musician, not just a composer, not just a teacher, but really a man of the arts. He was an
African per excellence.
A man of the arts.
You know, an African through African. That is what we mean. And we should acknowledge him for that.
When you mention his name to even a primary school student of history, they will link the name Philip Gbeho to the Ghana National Anthem. How did that come about? So
it means that you are now going to the second thing he did.
Yes.
The first and most important was the acknowledgement of our culture, bringing it up. And we don't have to forget, before we leave that topic, that he faced a Herculean task, a great opposition when he started doing this work from 1954. And the reason was simply that at that time, we had very few government schools. Almost all the schools were mission schools. And the missionaries were preaching against African culture, beating drums, you know, and singing African hymns. And those
because things. They were European.
Yeah, they were European. They felt everything associated with this color as backward, demonic, satanic, because they painted Jesus Christ white. I don't know where they found Jesus. They painted him God. Even God is painted white. And then the Satan, Lucifer, painted black. But if that is so, then we are very beautiful people, because the Bible itself acknowledges that whatever God created, the most beautiful was the angel Lucifer. Unfortunately, when they make him black, instead of making him beautiful as the Bible says, they will make him very ugly like a monkey and put some horns over there. You understand? So people like Gbeho would try to change it. Unfortunately, the missionaries will stand against him. Until 1957, when we had our independence, and then the government took over education and set up so many government schools. Then
funded by the cocoa that Tete Kwashi brought in many years ago.
Yes, and then the Achimota dream came to fruition, that the African must be aided to come up. So this thing helped a lot. Now going to the second step, that is the
anthem.
national anthem. Because this man was good, prolific, the government identified him as one of 4 men who would be selected to produce a national anthem for the country. Before then, we had God Save the Queen. That's a British national anthem, God Save the Queen. Now it is the King because of Charles. So we needed our own, and this man was selected. And we are told that the 4 anthems produced were sung repeatedly on the newly born GBC, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, everywhere. And people actually testified to the fact that it was Philip Gbeho's anthem,
the tune that
they liked.
That in modern days, we would have put the music out on social media for people to,
and that one would have been easy.
Yes, but back then, well, I guess looking at it, back then there was only one radio station. So if you put it on, everybody's going to hear it. Once you had a set, you were going to hear it.
And there was a national anthem select committee moving from region to region, district to district, hearing proposals from people and then getting ideas. And overwhelmingly, everybody said Gbeho's was the best.
Can you reflect a bit on the level of organization that people had back then in the 50s, where they took this assignment so seriously that they set up this committee, and then they went beyond that and they went basically on a regional tour of the country? I mean, what does it say about governance back then for you? For
me, I believe that at that time, it's a very solemn question. You see, look at Goggisberg, who was not a Ghanaian, and he built Achimota for us. Then Takrade Habo, Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and then the Africanization policy that made so many Ghanaians engineers and doctors. The same Goggisberg setting up the Tetekwashe Cocoa Scholarship at Achimota. So when this man, an expatriate, could do this for you, and in Nkrumah too, learning the Goggisberg approach, that he laid down his life for the country. And to date, nobody has seen Nkrumah's account or any building he had for himself. Definitely it would compel the people there to begin to lead lives because they were emulating others.
The leader.
It's as simple as that.
So the leader does and people copy.
It is leadership. It is leadership. The Bible says that in Antioch, people started calling the disciples Christians. Why? Because they saw that their behavior was just as their master, Jesus Christ. But today, if you have an MP coming from Ahanta West or Tolong Kumbungu, and then the next day, he buys a house at East Legon and wouldn't want to meet his people again until 4 years, he finds a way to beg them to vote for him. What do you think the young people coming with you? When they see a political party's primaries, delegates primaries, people giving refrigerators, deep freezers, mobile phones, television sets.
Quarter plots, I heard.
Everything. And then one person paying maybe 5,000 Ghana cedis. And then maybe you are a teacher, accountant, engineer, or lawyer who wants to go and serve your country through the parliamentary system, and you don't have that money. And pardon my language, an idiot who has got that money to give to the delegates. Eventually, this is the man who will be elected to go and sit in parliament. And when it happens that way, you should know that you have put the whole country in disarray. So today, young men would not want to follow people like Nkrumah or Gbeho. Somebody told me that J.B. Dankwa did not have any property because whatever he had, he put into his newspaper publication. And today, nobody would want to be like him because they would think that people like that were stupid. Pardon my language. So the reason why people would behave that way was that in those days, people were serving their God and their country and themselves last. That is the answer.
So it explains, the level of organization and the detail and the thinking that went into the whole process. And so they went around the country And they came back and it was decided that this was the tune that
This
we were
was
going to
the
use for
tune.
our anthem.
And then when the government received it, said that a few words will have to be changed. Let's polish it up, because certain words pushes us too much into something like the Christian side. Christian side. And Ghana is a secular country under God. So let's make it such that whatever your belief is, whether Christian, Muslim, traditional, or Hindu, or Buddhist, you would find a place in it within the Ghanaian society through the anthem.
Yeah.
And that's why we had the words as we have. But we should remind everybody that the words that were changed, they do not ultimately change the handiwork of Philip Gbeho.
The tune is still his.
The tune is still his, and only a few words were taken out and some brought in. So it's like when somebody has been able to, like the Wright brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, they made the aeroplane.
Yeah.
So today, if you change everything and computerize it, you can't take off their name from it.
They were the
That's
pioneers.
all that we are saying. He was the pioneer. And the only remarkable change, arguably remarkable change, was a certain verse which was changed because after the overthrow of Nkrumah, they wanted the young ones, the school children, to hate Nkrumah and see that he was a dictator, a despot, and nobody should live like him.
So in Nkrumah's time, the first line would be lift high the flag of Ghana. Is that correct?
Lift high, lift high, it was still God bless our homeland.
Ghana.
And then lift high was the second stanza,
okay.
which we don't use.
Okay.
But a few words, the original had been hidden from us, but the modern one still forms part of the national anthem, where it says, and help us to resist oppressors rule with all our will and might forevermore.
Who wrote those words?
It was the NLC, National Liberation Council.
The chaps who overthrew Nkrumah.
That introduced, commissioned some people, possibly maybe the Winneba Musical School or the University of Ghana. We've got a music department over there, and they make sure that they would change those words and bring the ones we have just sung, so that people will see the former leader as an oppressor, as a dictator, and that their work was good, what they had done, to be able to rise up against this man. And they were teaching us that whenever you see a leader like Nkrumah, you should be able to stage a coup and overthrow him. And it is in the national anthem of Ghana. And that is the reason why there's an old man I met and a few old people who say that those words over there, however good they are or they might be, the intention is still very, very backward, because it sort of tells you that when you find a piece of government not being so good, instead of waiting for 4 years before changing it, you have to rise up against it. And I don't want to go far, but these are the words.
So those words were not the words that
were not Victor Gbeho's words. Philip Gbeho, no, he also had a famous and comfortable.
Yes,
they are not
his Philip Gbeho's words.
But after the overthrow of Nkrumah, we wanted to teach the school children that it is good when you rise up against any government of your land that you think is oppressive, which I believe is condemnable under the 1992 Constitution.
I wonder whether Philip Gbeho was ever asked what he felt about the change in the lyrics.
Definitely he wouldn't be happy, because you know that this is somebody part of Nkrumah's Africanization and African personality dream. So naturally, even the overthrow, he won't be happy. And if we should add, the third thing he did was the setting up of the National Symphony Orchestra in 1963. So it means that Philip Gbeho, was an institution. And I should say that during the independence era, he became the most foremost citizen of Ghana after Kwame Nkrumah. So naturally, if such a man is overthrown, no matter how you treat Philip Gbeho, he would not accept it as much as if it had been his own mentor and friend Nkrumah.
It's interesting to know that he continued his broadcasting when he came back to Ghana from the UK, because he had a show on Radio Ghana where he basically spoke about arts and culture and music.
That was his life. And we shouldn't also forget that he composed the national pledge. I promise on my honor to be faithful and loyal to Ghana, my motherland. He composed the national pledge. And he said that Americans, when they sing their national anthem, they pause and then recite the pledge. So we should do that. And no wonder, in Nkrumah's time, it was not very popular. But when General Echampon also overthrew the enemies of Nkrumah, 1972, January coup, it was against Professor K.A. Buzia.
Indeed.
So Echampon also felt that what he had done was very heroic, and what he had done was rather better. So we should quickly revive the dream of Gbeho. And then he made the national anthem very popular and was made compulsory in all the schools in Ghana. If you could not recite it, you will be lashed that day.
I do remember in primary school, we had to sing the national anthem every morning.
So, and national anthem,
the pledge,
and then
the pledge as well.
Pledge
so they were supposed to go together, right? You sing the anthem, and then after that, you recite the pledge.
The champion popularized it.
We don't do that now. Now we just sing the anthem.
It's not late. That is why we're
here
reminding ourselves.
We don't even say the pledge these days.
Yeah, we should begin saying it. We should begin saying it as if we don't have a pledge. And then as if to say that it has officially been abandoned. No. So we have to go back to it. And the national anthem, if it is important, being sung during important days when the president is giving speeches and when the national team, every team that is representing Ghana, whether it is the national team or a local team like Hasofoko or Kotoko, once you go abroad, you know that
even boxers,
it will be
boxers were fighting.
Anything you are doing in the name of Ghana, you see the flag there, and then the national anthem will be sung. And always we don't have to forget a man like Philip Gbeho, whose son was Victor Gbeho, and grandchild Komila Dumo. Who also and you see his voice. So that voice, the family has got that voice.
And he also became a broadcaster as well, just like his grandfather. Indeed. Apart from the anthem, what would be some of the reasons you'd want Ghanaians and Africans to remember? Because remember, this anthem that he composed was first played on the 6th of March, 1957, when Africa was still under colonial rule, with the exception of Ethiopia and Liberia.
Yes, and the beauty of it, that, you see, I'm imagining what we always see, 6 March, 1957, that the day you see the Union Jack being lowered, and then the Ghana flag being sent up there, and then Nkrumah saying, you know, when he was lifting the Ghana flag, he didn't talk much about the flag, but rather he said that this is going to be the national anthem that you are going to sing, and then immediately he instructed, and then and then it echoed everywhere in the world. It reverberated that one of the most inspirational national anthems in the world, thanks to Philip Gbeho.
Have Ghanaians remembered him often?
Not
well
much.
Enough?
I want even an university named after him. If you can imagine
scholarship, a music scholarship or something, I don't know, art scholarship.
Very good. At least some of the music departments in the tertiary institutions. And then we have this national theater. Why do you call it national theater? No, we have somebody there because it was Gbeho who established the National Theater of Ghana and then the Arts Council of Ghana. So why don't you build, okay, let's leave this national theater. It's even too small for me to imagine.
Let's build a new one.
A monumental one. And then Philip Gbeho Center. Something like that.
Arts and culture or something.
Something like that. And it won't take anything from us. It won't take, rather, it will make the young ones coming realize that, hey, a country that does not remember is that it's not worth dying for. So once they have remembered people like Philip Gbeho, let me also do something for my country so that one day people would name a street after me or any monument after me.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go onto the streets of Ghana and just ask people a simple question. Who is Philip Gbeho?
That one they can answer easily.
Why you may be surprised?
That one they can answer.
You think
but
so?
When you ask what has been done for him, that is the sad thing.
That is the sad one.
Every morning, every evening, national anthem is sung. And who is behind it? Philip Gbeho. What have we done for this man? It's a question that the nation has to answer.
Thank you for the answers to the questions I asked in this interview. Thank you so much, Siyanochi from Pong. Always a real pleasure. What did you learn from this interview? What stuck out for you? What would you like to see named in honor of Philip Gbeho, who, by the way, received the Grand Medal in 1965? And I'm looking forward to the day where maybe I'll open my wallet and take out my notes, and then his face will be there, just like Amu's face was there back in the day, and all the people who have lifted high the flag of Ghana.
Country.
Thank you for watching Legends of Africa with Yao Noche from Pong and me, Kafri Day. Put your comments down below. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can get alerts when the next video comes up. Till then, God bless.